Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I do hope you are well. I am a little bit up and down, which I'll come to as we tuck into this video, but first of all I'm going to share a little bit of footage I shot last Sunday. Yes, it was Sunday morning, about 7:30 in the morning. I went out for my little walk, excuse me, and I chose, it's quite early for me on a Sunday, but I chose to go for my walk at that time because of the weather. It was a bit of a misty morning, but also I wanted to see if I could catch the two gig boats putting out for their training session on Sunday morning. So that's what follows, a bit of gig boats, a bit of mist, and just all the loveliness of the bay. So in the first clip you'll see there are actually two boats out, so you'll see the first one is already quite far out, and then we'll see the second one a bit closer up, and enjoy the lovely spooky mist over Ballard Down. Beautiful, wasn't it? Well, I think so. So, in other news, right, I kind of sort of don't know where to begin at the moment. I've got bits of paper. Oh, actually, let's have some good news first. I just saw this in the paper the other day. The Flying Scotsman is coming back to Swanage. I don't think it's been here since 2019, but it's coming at the end of October, right at the end of October, which I believe is half term. So if you're planning a trip down at that sort of time of year, maybe with kids, grandkids, the Flying Scotsman will be here. And I was thinking about it, you know, it's quite expensive to go on the railway, excuse me. But you know, even if you can't afford to actually get onto the train, what you could do is, especially if you're in a car, but you can do it on the bus, is get up to Corfe Castle, because the station there is lovely, and it's a lovely little place for kids to explore, especially if you're a good storyteller. You can help them sort of imagine and visualise how it would have been. But also there's a lovely footbridge that goes over the railway. It's just a little footbridge, so you can stand on the footbridge as the train comes, you can see the train coming in, and then wait for it to leave, and of course you stand there in all the steam, well, the smoke, to watch it go. So you can do that for free. You don't have to pay to get into the station and to have a little look around, and then you could bring your car down to Swanage or get the bus back down to Swanage. You would miss that train arriving in Swanage. You can't get to Swanage quicker than the train, but later on you can go to the station and see the trains coming and going. So you can at least, you know, watch the trains even if you can't afford to get on them, because I realise it is, especially if you know, you're a whole family, it's quite expensive. So I will certainly be train spotting the Flying Scotsman. I've seen it a couple of times. I've seen it a couple of times in London, and I saw it once up in York, I think was the other place I saw it. Beautiful. Right, so now on to the, good grief. Okay, I was going to talk about the building. Yeah, I'll talk about the building. So, since I last saw you, you know, I put in a planning application to put double glazing in, and that got refused. Conservation area. So I put in an appeal, and the appeal was based on the fact that virtually my entire street, it's over 70% of the buildings in my street have had the windows replaced with double glazing in UPVC, but mostly in the style, in sash window style, and they look great. So that was the basis for my appeal, and my appeal was turned down. So they flat out refused. It's infuriating, you know, especially it's like literally every time I come out of my house and walk down the street into town, every house except one, every house I go past has got UPVC windows. I mean, it's unfathomable why they've put their foot down with me. I just don't know, because two of them have had planning permission since 2020, so it's not even like, oh, they were all done 20, 30 years ago. So I'm really upset about that. However, so like I was mentioning this to Paul the day after it had happened, I didn't even cry. I mean, I sort of felt like it, but there is no point in me getting angry about it, about the unjustness, the unfairness of it, because it really is unfair. And there's no logic. So after my appeal had gone in with all my points to say, number 1 is UPVC, number 2 is UPVC, number 3 is UPVC, number 4 is UPVC, and so on up my street, they just came back with the same answer: it doesn't fit with conservation. So I have had to really compartmentalise and just set it aside and say, do you know what, I can't fight it. There's no point in fighting it. I've got nowhere left to go with it. There's no point in me being angry or upset. There's no point in me shedding any tears over it, because that's not going to get me anywhere. It's just not going to change anything. So what I have to do now is I have to start the whole process again. So I have to do another planning application, this time for timber framed windows, which I really didn't want. I mean, I love timber, and that would always be my first choice. But the problem is, especially at the front, the bottom of my window is 6 foot above street level. So I can't get to the windows without a ladder. It's on a slope like this. And the thing about wooden frames in a maritime environment, they need to be maintained every 3 years or so, sometimes even 2 years. But at least every 3 years, I'd have to sand the entire frames down again and repaint them every 3 years. Me, on a slope like that, on step ladders, carrying a tin of paint and a paintbrush, it's just not possible. So I'm going to have to pay for that to be done by someone else. I'm not risking myself on ladders like that. So that's going to mean a cost for me every 3 years, which I just didn't want. So what I will have to do, I have to, like I said, submit another planning application, which means hundreds of pounds again. You have to pay hundreds of pounds for a planning application, plus hundreds of pounds for my architect to submit the new drawings. And then going forward, if they allow it, you know, every 3 years having to do maintenance. So what that would mean is, within my monthly, with my monthly what I set aside for my annual bills, I'd also have to be setting aside, thinking in terms of every 3 years of paying professionals to redo the painting of my windows. So that's all a bit grim and glum, especially the fact that, you know, that I have to pay for all this again before I even get an answer. Fortunately, you know, within my budget for the whole building is really tight. It's really tight. So it may mean that something else, I'll talk about floor coverings. So for instance, it probably means that floor coverings won't change. They'll have to stay as they are. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because I've seen my carpenter since I last saw you. He's come to do the final, you know, more precise measuring ups. We've talked through the design, tweaked a couple of things, and he was great. I really enjoyed that session with him because I was saying, oh, what about this, what about that? And he kept saying, you can have whatever you want, which is great. So we talked the whole thing through. I'm happy. He's getting on with starting, and then he'll come back, I hope in a couple of weeks or so, and it may be sort of 2-day job in here, so that's great. So in order to get ready for that, cue bit of VT from earlier this morning, just getting the 2 alcove spaces ready, so I'll show you that VT now. Well, it's a slightly awkward position. I'm going to have to tip you down. So I'm in this alcove, I'll do the other one too, where I'm going to have my bookshelves built. Now I'm going to have them built to the floor. So I need to get this carpet up. Now, oh, let me say before I tip you down. So I'm just going to take the carpet out from where the shelves will be built with a little bit of excess room for working. I'm not going to take the rest of the carpet up yet though, because I don't have anything to replace it with yet. That will be in time. It'll be one of the last things I sort out in this place. So for now, yeah, I'm just going to tackle it in this corner. Can you see there? So I'm hoping, I suppose one should be a little bit wary of hazards underneath the carpet. Is that cut through? No. I mean, I might need to stand up to do this to put some weight behind it. Yeah, one would hope that no one has left a cable underneath. There we go. Just seeing where my line is. Do my line first. And then I'll need to get my I'll need to get something under the grippers at the back to lift them off. Oh, transferring to my knees, they're not going to be happy. Yeah, you can see. Where did I get to? That bit doesn't want to come. Gotcha. Get off. Okay. And then the underlay, underlay, underlay. Well, the boards look pretty solid. That was the other thing I wanted to do while I was down here. They look pretty solid, but I can see where they've obviously been lifted at some point, presumably to do with central heating, and screwed back down again. But yeah, they look pretty solid. Good. Right. Well, I will carry on and get both sides done and look forward to having just one job in this place done, just as in the shelves being built. I don't mean there've been lots of little jobs done, but I just want to get one of the big jobs done. Right. And now to go and find something to prise up the grip strips with. I don't know what I've got that I can do that with. I just have to get creative with whatever tools I've got. I mean, it goes without saying, I'm so excited to get the shelves sorted finally. Apart from anything, get unpacked. Finally, properly get unpacked. And once I've done that, I'm going to have, and I'll probably share a bit of it with you because it might be helpful for some folk, and also some folk are just, we all want to know what's going on in everyone else's houses, don't we? I'm going to have probably a day session to rationalise all my storage here. So I've got the understairs cupboard, big cupboard, and there's 2 shelves above. I've got the cabinet in the kitchen, the upper cabinet in the kitchen. I've got underbed, there'll be storage in here. So I want to kind of work out the ergonomics of it, because a lot of the storage is to do with my shop. So I've got a lot of packaging materials, the stock itself. So I want to rationalise it so that, for instance, the packaging materials stay near the kitchen, because I use the big kitchen table to do all my packaging on, for example, and that very top shelf in the cupboard under the stairs. So that could be, for instance, you know, Christmas stuff, because it only comes out once a year, or the spare bedding I have for when visitors are here, because that's maybe once a month, once every couple of months. So that's a session I'm really looking forward to. I've been kind of wanting to do that ever since the day I moved in, of just getting things properly in their sort of forever homes, as it were. Most stuff, since I moved in and unpacked, most stuff hasn't moved. It's gone where, because obviously even before I moved in I was picturing where things would go, and it's all worked out pretty well. It's to do with, say, the shop mainly. I want to rationalise it so it's doesn't take over my life when I'm not doing that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that, and to be honest, it's yeah, I needed the shelves. I need them to look forward to, and I need them to enjoy them, because in terms of the rest of the building, it's all become really stressful. The roof situation is a major stress. There are 3 parties involved, and 2 of us are ready to go, and one of them is refusing, just flat out refusing, and has become quite threatening in a legal way. So I don't know how that's going to be resolved. It may be that I end up having to pay that person's share of the roof, because they're flat out refusing. It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible situation, and that will mean I'll have to sort out a loan. So yeah, I'm not going to dwell on that, because that is going to really upset me. I just want to get these big, like the roof and the windows, I want them done and dusted so that I can just relax a bit. And someone was asking me the other day about sewing. Am I going to have time for sewing this year? The problem with all this stuff that's going on, it takes an inordinate amount of time. It's ridiculous the amount of time it takes up. It's this continually having to write emails, do phone calls, but having to word emails really carefully because of legal ramifications. You know, continually trying to get people in, make appointments to, you know, I've had a structural engineer in, so just organising the appointments, then being here for the appointment themselves, then getting the information back from them, disseminating the information. I reckon since I've moved in, it must average about 1 day a week I spend just trying to sort this gaff out. I was actually thinking about this last night and thinking, do I regret it? No, I don't, because my bit, this is so perfect for me, both where it is and the space I've got, and you know, my proximity to the sea, all those things make it so perfect for me. It's just that it has come with a big parcel of stress. It's way more stress than I thought it would be, and it's so different to how we used to run things in London. And looking back to how we all did it in London, it was just a breeze. We just got on and did things. So anyway, so also more yin and yang. Council tax is going up. Of course, it's going up. All bills are going up, it seems. However, yay for me, my water bill is going to come down because I've had another. So I've had nearly, where am I now? I'm towards the end of March. Middle towards the end of March. And so I've had a year's worth of water bill now. And it's going to come. My water bill is coming down by £6.50. Yay! And my council tax is going up by about £10 a month. So overall, my bills are going up. That bit of the bills, I haven't had all the other annual things yet. So that's going up £3.50. So I got the council tax bill and I thought, oh, for goodness sakes, everything's going up except my income. And then I got the water bill and I thought, yay, I've saved a bit. This is staggering. So on the bill, online, I checked everything online, and they've got an average usage for number of people per household. So they do it for one person up to, I think, a 5-person household. So I looked at the 1-person household to see the usage, and my usage is 40% of what they say the average is. So I'm 60% less than an average solo occupant. I was staggered by that because, I mean, obviously I drink a lot of water. I drink about 3.5, 4 litres of water a day. Actually, that's the tip of the iceberg. I think it's mostly to do with, say, washing up. Just wash up once a day at the end of the day, as in the kitchen. Don't flush the loo every time. If it's yellow, let it mellow. Anyway, so yeah, there's like I said, it's, at the moment everything feels so up and down, up and down, up and down, and I would dearly love a season of things being just, you know, just a bit more less like that. Life is always going to be a little bit up and down, but I would like it to be less dramatic, as it were. So in the next couple of weeks, I will get on and start the windows process again. See what I can do about the roof. I have to compartmentalise that somewhat. Really look forward to my bookshelves. The carpenter is going to prime and undercoat them for me because I still don't know. I'm probably going to do them white, but that'll be a great start for me. So once they're actually fitted, all I need to do then is give it a couple of top coats, get all my books out, and bits and bobs. Just, I don't have a lot of knickknacks, ornaments, that sort of thing. I'm really not an ornaments, knickknacks person, but I've got a few little bits that are special, just a few little bits. So again, back to this, I'm going to have this big rationalisation of storage session. In the understairs cupboard, I think there's they were the white boxes that I kept underneath the DVD player when I was in London. That's got some of my bits and bobs in, so they can go on the shelves amongst the books, which means that will free up that bit of space in the understairs. But I can't wait just to get things sorted and it'll feel like a nice big stride forward. It's not a big stride, it's a step forward. And, you know, likewise, say with the bedroom, I'm dying to put the wallpaper up. I keep thinking, oh, just do it. Don't wait for the windows, just do it. And I am half inclined, but then I think no, because changing the window is going to be messy. It's going to be messy, so let's just hope, keep fingers crossed. On a slightly more happy note, I hope none of that's meant to be miserable. It's just how it is. That's life, isn't it? I don't want anyone saying, oh my God, your videos are so depressing. I had someone at Christmas, commented to say, I'm leaving your channel because all your videos are really depressing. And I thought, really? I've done all this Christmas stuff, all the lights and the steam trains and the lighting up of the pier and treats for a tenner, and you're telling me that anyway. You can't fathom some people, can you? But this is definitely not depressing. Talking of Christmas, so the lovely Barbara sent to me that wonderful book, The Thorn, the Birch and the Ash. Is that what it was called? The Peter Fiennes book. And a handful of DVDs, which I've been ploughing through. I've already given one of them away to a friend. Little Women, the Winona Ryder and Susan Sarandon version. So it's the last but one, not the Saoirse, what's her name one. Loved it. But also, I've got my notes stuck in the front. These two, Sense and Sensibility and Shakespeare in Love. Now, at the time, I did say, I'm not a Jane Austen fan. I know, shock horror. I love the Brontes. I love that kind of grime and grit and passion and misery. Jane Austen I've always found a bit too twee. Now, I'm not going to say any more. I'm not going to bash Jane Austen because I know loads of you love her. But I was really glad to have the opportunity to see the film. Fantastic cast. Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet, Alan Rickman being wonderful as always. Hugh Grant. They play it beautifully, so I'm sure loads of you will have seen this. I'm sure, in fact, probably the vast majority of you, I'm late to the party. But if you haven't seen it, the acting is great, the direction is great, the settings are great, the costumes are great. Everything about this film is great, and I'm sure you'll all love it. Except the storyline. It's the Jane Austen storyline. I just can't get my head around Jane Austen. It's all, like I said, I'm not going to bash her because that would be disrespectful to those of you who like her. But the reason I don't is it's so much it revolves around that sort of polite society waiting to get married. And I think that's why as a kid, as a teenager, reading Jane Austen and reading the Brontes, in Jane Austen I just couldn't identify with the women and girls in her books. I just couldn't identify with them because it was not, I don't mean because of, you know, because of the period or the historical, because they're historical. I just mean these girls who want to get married. I just didn't identify with it. Whereas being up on the moors and being wild and being my own person, that's what I identified with. So hence, I was a fan of the Brontes rather than Ms. Austen. But it's a really sweet film. It's a lovely film. And like I say, visually, it's gorgeous and the performances are gorgeous. So well worth a watch even for that. So thank you, Barbara. And then Shakespeare in Love, which I saw at the pictures years and years and years ago when it first came out. It was about 97, I think. Haven't seen it since. Again, a fantastic cast. I'm not a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow though. Certainly not her outside of acting, like her candle and that dress for the Oscars. Oh, she can put some clothes on, Gwen. However, she's brilliant in this. It's the perfect role for her. And I'd forgotten how witty the script is, especially the bits with John Webster and his ghoulishness. He's a boy in this. Yeah, so an absolute romp. Joseph Fiennes plays Will Shakespeare. He's brilliant. The costumes are stunning. The sets are great, and it's got a really lovely energy all the way through. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. Essentially, Gwyneth Paltrow is a lady, as in, she's from a good family, and they're going to make a good marriage for her, but she wants to be an actor. Of course, in Shakespeare's day, women weren't allowed to act, so she disguises herself as a boy and joins Will's company to do a production. He finds out, they fall in love, ta-da! But she has to continue this disguise as a boy. So the theme of the film is very much like the theme of so many of Shakespeare's play, of mistaken identity, disguise, deception. Yeah, so it's a really, really fun romp. And like I said, it's witty. There's a lot of in-jokes. So if any of you have had anything to do with theatre in your life, there's all those wonderful in-jokes, spot on. Really enjoyed watching it again after, gosh, it's nearly 30 years, isn't it? That freaks me out because it feels like yesterday when I was that young woman living in Kensington, walking along to the Odeon in Kensington to watch it. Good grief. Time flies. And my last bit of entertainment today, a wonderful book. It's called Threads of Life. It's by Claire Hunter. I'll read the subtitle. It's A History of the World Through the Eye of a Needle. I don't know how much you can make out that cover. That's all embroidered. It's absolutely stunning. This was a bit of a punt. I'm so glad I picked it up. I kind of thought, yeah, I'll probably like this. Is it to do with embroidery, a history of the world, so it's going to be social history? So I thought, yeah, I really enjoy reading social history. I'm obviously interested in embroidery and sewing in general. I'll give it a go. I'm so glad I did. I absolutely loved it. It is a social history, and it is the world. She goes all over the world in this. So each chapter, there's a different theme for each chapter. Let me just find the chapter headings and it'll help me to prompt me. So there's a chapter heading called simply Power. So she talks about Mary Queen of Scots. Frailty. I can't remember what frailty goes into. Oh yes, talking about mental health and sewing and PTSD, soldiers after the Second World War and after the First World War, captivity, people who've been held in captivity who've used sewing. And so it goes. Protest, so we think of protest banners, the suffragettes. Loss, so that talks about grave goods, but also those left behind, how they stitch to get over loss, or the person, what's left, what's bequeathed by someone who's died. Work, and that goes in. So she comes up to modern times. There's a chapter all about sewing machines and how that's changed sewing, but also factory sewers, at-home sewers, piece workers, cottage industry. She talks about all sorts of different tribes all over the world, different communities, how they've passed on their knowledge and their culture and their identity through passing on their stitches over the years. I loved it. It was deeply fascinating. But what surprised me was how moving so much of the book was. There were chapters where, honestly, I was actually close to tears reading it. I was so moved. People's mental health destroyed by a war, for example, and their road to recovery. And I made a note about why we sew, why people have sewn through the centuries, and I just scribbled the notes. Pieces have been sewn for solace. Pieces have been sewn for redemption. Needlework, embroidery in particular, is done as an act of love, an act of sedition. It's done quietly. It can be done loudly. It can be done as an act of piety, an act of contrition, an act of subversion. It feels like all emotions are represented in the book. It's wonderful. There are really, like I said, moving, difficult passages. There's a whole section about psychiatric hospitals, and she's done a lot of work in communities. It's wonderful. My only criticism of the book, Claire, can you bring out another copy, please? I wanted it to be illustrated. I wanted to, so the first chapter, actually, it starts with the Bayeux tapestry. And so when I do my reading at night time. It's usually sort of like, I finish my day about 10 o'clock and I say, right, that's it, everything gets turned off. I'm just going to sit and relax now and read. Either I read, sit on the sofa and read, or I tuck myself up in bed and read. Anyway, the reason I'm making a point about that is because by that time of day, my computer is turned off. That's it. No more computer. Yay! So there were various works of sewing she mentioned. There's some good references at the back. So I made a little scribble note of it on paper, and then the next morning, because I turn my computer on in the morning to do my work, and after an hour or so, or 2 hours of doing my work, it's like, quick, I'm going to have a look at one of these pieces she mentioned to look things up. Also in terms of techniques, I would say probably if you're a stitcher, you would know most of them. I thought I knew what stump work was, but I wasn't 100%, so that's one thing I looked up. I googled it the next day, and sure enough, it was what I thought it was. But sorry, I'm digressing. I'm going back into the book. I just wish it had been illustrated, because I would have loved to, some of the specific works she mentioned, I would love to see them, and I couldn't find everything that she mentioned. I couldn't find it on the computer. I didn't look too hard, but in any case, never mind that. It is a wonderful book. She won she's Scottish, she's out of Glasgow, and of course the Glasgow School of Art, huge in kind of reinvigorating needlework as an art, turn of the last century. When was this written? I think it's fairly recent, but I'm mentioning the Scottish thing because, this was published in 2020, because she won the Salter First Book Prize for this. I'm not surprised. It's lovely. It's so well researched. And like I said, there's notes at the back if you want to cross-reference anything, if you do read it. But never mind that. It's a really immersive book, and at times my heart was bleeding, at times my heart was cheering if it's, making banners for a march. A really beautiful book. I'm so glad I took a punt on it. I'm going to put it in my shop because I think one of you might like it. I don't know when it's going to end up there. Give me a couple of days. But yeah, if you see a copy or your library has a copy and you have even a passing interest in sewing, I think you'd really enjoy it. So yay, that's a nice thing to end on, isn't it? All right, lovelies, I will see you all again really soon. Oh, we might be in the kitchen for the next one. So until then, please take care of yourselves. I will try best to take care of myself and my mental health while all this building stuff goes on. And just keep taking deep breaths. And when it gets too much, just look out of the window and look at the sea. And if I've got time, actually just go and walk down to the sea. All right, lovelies, until the next one, cheerio. Oh, big truck, just saying goodbye. It was noisy, isn't it? That's why I want my double glazing. Cheerio, lovelies.